In our top story tonight, let's talk about the debt ceiling. No, wait, don't fall asleep. I promise this won't be boring. So what is the debt ceiling? Well, it's the arbitrary line in the sand that politicians draw so they can have something to pretend to care about stepping over. But more accurately, we're only allowed to borrow so much money before we hit this ceiling. If we can't borrow more, we can't pay our bills, the national economy takes a nosedive, and since the U.S. economy is kind of a big deal in the global economy, people across the world are affected. Now, is borrowing more and more money forever a bad thing? Sure. But not doing it and crashing the global economy is worse. It's a real would you rather be covered in poop or vomit situation that characterizes so much of our economic system. But don't worry, help is on the way. Janet Yellen, who looks like she's about to take up watercolors at any minute, is taking extraordinary measures to keep the world economy out of the ditch while she waits for Congress to raise the debt ceiling. Yellen is basically America's mom right now. No, you cannot crash the economy because you'll mess up your friends' 401ks. Now come over here and have an applesauce pouch and then we'll go home and raise the debt ceiling after your nap, okay? Now you may be asking yourself, what do I do when this debt ceiling thing comes up? Which it will again and again for some reason. Don't worry, there's a very specific protocol. Step 1, everybody panic. Step 2, time for politicians to point their pork-stained fingers across the aisle and blame anyone who isn't them. Step 3, we play a very dramatic game of chicken with our global future so politicians can make it look like they're doing stuff for their base. Step 4, we raise the limit again for another week and schedule the next fiasco. Now, you're probably wondering, why can't we just abolish the debt ceiling forever and save ourselves this recurring headache? Oh, you sweet, naive little bitch. The debt ceiling is sponsored by the very powerful gin and antacids lobby. 47% of their annual profit comes from this whole charade. We know better than to fuck with the animals at Seagram's and Tums. The White House called the GOP shamelessly hypocritical for investigating Biden and ignoring that Trump did the same thing, but worse. They're also asking for visitor logs of Biden's personal home, which, what would that even look like? Okay, at 6:12 p.m., Miss Peterson came by for a potluck and brought an eggplant parmesan that frankly could have used more salt, maybe a little squeeze of lemon to add some acidity and brightness. Kevin McCarthy says he's always had a few questions about George Santos' resume. And I know why he didn't ask those questions. You ever know someone's lying, but they're doing such a bad job that you kind of want to see how far they'll go? Oh, you did go to outer space? Well, tell me more about that. Santos is once again under fire like a tunneling arsonist over claims that he stole fundraising money from a veteran's dying dog. Fucking every single story with this guy is like, he said he played volleyball for Baruch, but he was actually on the Syracuse Junior College kitten drowning team. Also under fire this week is Lauren Boebert for pretending to care about Martin Luther King. I don't understand why everybody's so mad at her. Boebert is just engaging in the very American tradition of picking whatever MLK quote sits right with you at the time and pretending y'all would have been best friends. And speaking of Lauren Boebert, we have some hot Capitol goss here. Apparently MTG and Lauren Boebert had a catfight in the Congressional Ladies' Room. Andy Cohen has already announced a primetime reunion special to discuss. While discussing Ron DeSantis running against him, Trump said, quote, "We'll handle it the way I handle things." So by throwing ketchup at a wall until someone slips you a Benadryl or by cheating on Ron with a porn star. Let's take a quick spin around the country now. A Colorado library has shut down after exceeding the state-mandated levels of allowable meth. I don't think it's weird that there's meth in a library. That's where you'd find the book on how to make it after all. But I do think it's weird that there's a state threshold of allowable meth. Meanwhile, several members of a local Boy Scout troop have been sighted lingering a bit too long around the National Geographics again, so somebody needs to go check on that too. Fuck, libraries are gross. They're like the new internet. Governor Greg Abbott has banned TikTok from college campuses in Texas. This should help prevent students from cooking chicken in NyQuil or styling their hair with Gorilla Glue, but they can still buy as many guns as they want. Flawless system. The Taliban, an organization who is unreasonably scared of women in much the same way that I'm scared of tarantulas, has ordered mannequins to either be covered up or beheaded. But apparently rock-hard nips are good to go. Guys, if there's a problem with this mannequin, it's not in the facial region, okay? Now, all this sounds nuts and completely unnecessary. We'd never do something that dumb here, right? No, we totally would. Because Missouri has forbidden female lawmakers to have bare arms at work. Question for men. What do you think is going to happen to you if you see a woman's skin? Are you just going to have no choice but to be dragged into hell while masturbating furiously? You ever notice that women seem to have no problem controlling themselves? I saw Jason Momoa in Aquaman and didn't feel the need to pass any new rules or regulations. We've had 2 Magic Mike movies with a 3rd on the way, and shirtless dudes with bow ties are still totally legal. We just go on about our day. Maybe since you're always distracted by things like eyebrows and elbows, you should leave the governing to people who can actually handle it. Us. Turning now to the world of business, where Tinder is testing a $500 monthly plan for people who want to throw money at their romantic problems. The exorbitant fee gets you a date coach to help you make a good first impression. How's your wine?
Good job asking questions. Nice, easy.
Do you have any childhood trauma you want to talk about?
Okay, a little too personal with the questions. Let's back up a little bit, maybe a compliment instead.
I love those shoes.
Perfect.
How big are your feet?
Oh boy.
Can I see your feet?
Mayday, mayday, abort, abort.
Yeah, like right here in the restaurant. Take them off. I want to see your feet.
This is why I drink.
The big tech trade show CES was back this week, so here's a short list of new gadgets that people are absolutely going to use for doing sex. First up, Atmosphere inline electric skates. At least 15 people per year will be wearing these when they break their dicks trying to get a rolling start to doing it. WeHead's new spatial video nightmare straight from the uncanny valley will certainly be mounted above something motorized and thrusting. I don't care which celebrity's face they smack on that thing, there won't be enough lube in the world. Go ahead and call the ER ahead of time before you do what we all know you're gonna do and stick your boys in the 1/3 avocado ripeness checker. You won't need the screen to tell you how firm you are. Apple CEO Tim Cook is taking a pay cut. Cook says he's on board with the pay cut, but sources confirmed that after looking at his budget, he instructed his private chef to cut back on any egg-based dishes. Turning now to the world of sports, where Tom Brady's football season is officially over. With this loss, Brady forfeits his playoff incentives, which in years past have been upwards of $1 million. When asked about this loss of income, Brady suggested that he would take it as a learning experience, but that he will have to start eating Reno omelets rather than his usual Denver omelet. And for those of you who don't know, a Reno omelet is basically nacho cheese from a can and cubed roadkill raccoon, served hand-thrown into an alley behind the restaurant where you have to fight a rat for it. Over in the world of entertainment, Kevin Spacey was in Italy to accept an award. Thought when you were convicted of a sexual assault they made you president? Nope, Italy just shows up with a statue. Weird. Scientists unfamiliar with the concept of hubris have steered lightning by firing lasers into storms, making for a strong Act 2 in a future drama about man's reckless quest for power over nature. Early analysis of results have shown minimal signs of divine retribution. The number of wailing maidens disappearing into the fog on the raging cliffs is within 1 standard deviation. Climate scientists are predicting that 2023 will be even hotter than last year, with off-the-chart temperatures and unprecedented heat waves. Didn't we just talk about how the ozone layer is healing last week? All right, well, maybe there will only be 1 more year of hot weather and storms and tornadoes and wildfires and flooding and all that, and then we're good, right? I mean, who's in charge here? Is it God or Al Roker? I'll go ahead and tell my agent to call Al tomorrow. If anyone knows how to contact God, drop it in the comments. An Idaho Republican says he got his women's health street cred from watching cows.
I've milked a few cows, spent most of my time walking behind lines of cows. So if you want some ideas on repro and the women's health thing, I have some definite opinions.
When we asked his wife if she was satisfied with his knowledge of the female body, she said, "Oh gosh, absolutely not." And finally tonight, how about a little palate cleanser of clumsy pandas? Look at how cute they are. They can't help falling down. I could watch this all day. That wraps up this week's Friday Fenix. Don't forget to subscribe.
Your efforts are valid, but I don't think you can step up to the challenge. Your efforts are valid, but I don't think you can step up to the challenge.